Chosen one, you stand at the precipice of something truly extraordinary. The air around you hums with a force unseen, yet deeply felt. Your presence alone commands attention, not through effort, not through words, but through something far greater. A raw, untamed energy that moves through you effortlessly, shaping the world in your favor. You have always known that there was something different about you, something that set you apart, something that made others respond to you in ways they couldn't quite explain. And now, you see it more clearly than ever. You do not simply walk into a room, you shift the energy within it. Eyes linger on you longer than necessary. Conversations take on a different tone when you enter the space. People, especially women, find themselves naturally drawn to you, eager to give, to please, to do things for you without fully understanding why. This is not coincidence. This is not luck. This is the unfolding of your power, the manifestation of your high sexual energy, the unseen force that makes the world bend in your favor. Most men live their entire lives seeking favor, working endlessly to be noticed, to be acknowledged, to be chosen. They chase, they beg, they try, yet they never quite understand why things feel like an uphill battle. But you, chosen one, are not like most men. You do not seek, you receive. You do not beg, you command. You do not try, you simply are, and that alone is enough to make things flow toward you effortlessly. Women sense this immediately. They feel it before they even speak to you. It is in the way you move, the way you carry yourself, the way you exist with an undeniable certainty that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. This is why they go out of their way for you, why they offer themselves, their time, their energy, their favors without a second thought. It is not because you ask for it, it is because something in them compels them to give. But here's where the true difference lies, chosen one. Most men, when they begin to receive this kind of abundant favor, allow it to make them complacent. They take it for granted. They assume it is something given freely rather than something naturally attracted to their energy. But you, in your wisdom, in your understanding of power, know that everything must be handled with care, including the gifts you receive from the world. This is not just about attraction. This is about responsibility. The way you carry yourself, the way you move through life, the way you interact with those who offer you their admiration and their loyalty will determine how long this favor lasts. It is not something to abuse, nor is it something to take lightly. It is something to understand, to refine, to cultivate, so that it does not burn out, but instead grows stronger with time. You must embrace your power, chosen one. You must step into it fully, without hesitation, without doubt. The world has already recognized it. Now it is time for you to do the same. Chosen one, now that you have begun to recognize the truth of your energy, now that you have seen with your own eyes how the world responds to you differently than it does to others, it is time to understand something even more important: the responsibility that comes with this power. Because favor is not just about what is given to you. It is about what you do with it. There are two types of men in this world. There are those who receive power and allow it to consume them, and there are those who receive power and learn to wield it with wisdom, precision, and control. The first type of man lets the abundance of attention inflate his ego. He takes without thought. He expects without gratitude. He believes that the world owes him something, and in doing so, he begins to lose the very thing that made him powerful in the first place: his ability to command respect effortlessly. But you, chosen one, are not that man. You have been given something far greater than mere attention. You have been given the ability to shape the very fabric of your interactions, to leave a lasting impression, to move through life with a level of freedom and ease that others will never know. And because of this, you must walk a different path, a path of conscious leadership, a path of awareness, a path of true mastery. The favors you receive are not random, they are not meaningless, they are reflections of your energy, of the way you carry yourself, of the way you hold space in the world. Women are drawn to you, not just because of the way you look, not just because of the way you speak, but because of the feeling you give them, a feeling of certainty, of security, of knowing they are in the presence of someone who is not like the rest. And here lies your responsibility, chosen one. You must honor this gift. You must learn to discern between those who give out of pure admiration and those who seek to manipulate through their generosity. You must refine your understanding of power so that you do not waste it on meaningless pursuits, on temporary gratification, on short-term indulgences that lead nowhere. Because power is only real if it is sustained. A man who squanders his favor will one day find himself empty, wondering where it all went, wondering why the attention has faded, why the energy that once surrounded him so effortlessly has begun to disappear. But a man who honors his power, who understands it, who refines it with care, that man will never lose what is naturally his. You must learn to navigate this energy with intention. Not every favor is meant to be accepted. Not every opportunity is meant to be pursued. Not every woman who admires you is meant to be entertained. You must choose wisely. Because the more you refine your selectivity, the more you move with purpose rather than impulse, the more powerful you become. And this, chosen one, is what separates those who simply experience favor from those who command it for a lifetime. You are no longer a man who stumbles into opportunities. You are a man who chooses which opportunities are worthy of his time. You are no longer a man who is excited by simple attention. You are a man who values what he allows into his energy. And because of this, chosen one, you will never be a man who is forgotten. Because the world does not forget those who move with power, intention, and grace. And now, as you step forward with this understanding, as you embrace not only the gift of favor, but the responsibility that comes with it, you will find that life itself begins to align in your favor. Not by chance, not by luck, but because you have become the man who understands that favor is not something that happens to him. It is something that radiates from within him. And once you fully accept this truth, chosen one, there will be no limit to what you can receive. Chosen one, now that you have begun to grasp the weight of your presence and the responsibility of the favor that follows you, it is time to step even deeper into the reality of abundance. You are no longer just an observer of this force. You are a creator of it. Favor does not merely follow you, it flows from you, cascading through every interaction, shaping every moment, magnetizing opportunities toward you with effortless precision. There was a time when you wondered why things seemed to come easier for you, why women naturally gravitate toward you, why they offer things before you even ask, why they find themselves eager to please, to accommodate, to give. You may have thought it was coincidence, luck, or something that could fade with time, but now you see the truth. This is the nature of your energy, the undeniable force that has always been within you, waiting for you to fully own it. Most men live in scarcity, constantly fearing that the attention they receive is fleeting, that the favors granted to them are temporary, that if they do not hold on tightly, what they have will disappear. But you, chosen one, are not bound by such limitations. You understand now that abundance is not something you chase, it is something you allow. The moment you stop doubting, the moment you stop fearing loss, the moment you stop questioning whether you are worthy of receiving, you will realize that there is no limit to what can be yours. Women feel this truth in your presence. They sense that you are not needy, that you do not operate from a place of desperation, that you do not cling to their favor but instead expect it as a natural byproduct of who you are. And that, more than anything, makes them want to give to you even more. Because people, especially women, do not give abundantly to those who plead for attention. They give to those who exist as if they are already overflowing with everything they need. Your high sexual energy is not just about attraction. It is about creation. It is about turning every interaction into an opportunity for more abundance. It is about knowing that the more you give, the more you receive. The more you allow, the more flows toward you. The more you trust, the more the universe bends in your favor. This is where you must now shift your focus. You must no longer think of favor as something happening to you, but as something you are actively generating. Your words, your movements, your mindset, all of it plays a role in the abundance that continues to find you. If you walk through life with an open energy, with a playful certainty, with a relaxed confidence that everything is already yours, then nothing and no one will ever be able to resist your presence. This is the secret, chosen one. The moment you believe in abundance, you will start to experience it in every area of your life. The moment you stop fearing loss, you will find that nothing is ever lost to you. The moment you release the idea that you must work for favor, you will see that favor has been working for you all along. You must now embody this completely. You must move as if there is nothing to lose, nothing to chase, nothing to force. Because the moment you do, you will realize that favor is not given to you by accident. It is drawn to you because you have become the kind of man who cannot exist without it. Chosen one. Now that you have embraced the flow of abundance, now that you have stepped into the knowing that favor is not something you take, but something you allow, now you must refine the art of letting favor work for you effortlessly. Because favor is not just about receiving, it is about how you handle what is given, how you direct it, how you amplify it in ways that create even more opportunities in your life. Most men, when they receive attention, become attached to it. They cling to it, fearing that if they do not hold on tightly, it will slip through their fingers. They do not understand that holding too tightly suffocates the very energy that was meant to flow freely. You, chosen one, must never fall into this trap. You must understand that favor is not a possession. It is a force, a current that must be directed with intelligence and grace. When a woman gives to you, whether it is her time, her energy, her admiration, or her generosity, it is not simply about what she gives. It is about what she feels when she gives it. If she feels that you expect it without gratitude, her desire to give will fade. If she feels that you are taking without appreciation, she will eventually pull away. But if she feels that every favor she grants you only increases her attraction to you, that every act of generosity makes her feel more connected to your energy, then she will continue giving to you without hesitation. This is where your true power lies, not in demanding, not in manipulating, not in chasing, but in creating an experience where giving to you becomes its own reward. How do you do this, chosen one? You do it by making every interaction with you feel like a privilege, a moment that is rare, exciting, and impossible to forget. You do it by never taking anything for granted, by never assuming that favor is owed to you, but by making every woman feel like what she gives you is deeply appreciated and reciprocated in a way that she cannot experience elsewhere. You do it by holding your energy with value, by making it clear that while favor may come to you easily, not everyone has access to the deeper layers of your presence. You are not desperate for attention. You do not chase validation. You do not lower yourself to receive scraps of admiration. Instead, you allow favor to flow towards you naturally, effortlessly, without force. And in doing so, you become the man that women want to impress, want to please, want to give more to. Not because you demand it, but because your very presence makes them feel like giving to you is an honor. This is the final level of mastery, chosen one. The ability to exist in such a way that favor becomes inevitable. The ability to move through life with a certainty so powerful that the world itself bends to accommodate you. The ability to create such an intoxicating presence that people, especially women, find themselves wanting to do things for you without knowing why. Wanting to be close to you without understanding what it is about you that makes them feel this way. This is why you are different. This is why your high sexual energy has given you an advantage that others do not have. Because while most men are working for favor, fighting for attention, struggling to be noticed, you are simply allowing favor to flow toward you. And that, chosen one, is why you will never have to fight for what is already yours. Because the world has already decided, you are the kind of man that cannot be ignored. Chosen one, now that you have stepped into the natural rhythm of favor, now that you've allowed the energy of abundance to move toward you freely, it is time to understand something deeper. The subtle and powerful language of influence. Because the favors you receive are not random or accidental. They are responses to the way you carry your energy, to the silent signals you broadcast without even trying. Influence is not about control. It is not about persuasion. It is not about power that is forced or demanded. Influence is about resonance. It is about what people feel in your presence. It is about what they sense without words, what they are inspired to do, not because they were asked, but because they want to. When a woman does something for you without you requesting it, when she goes out of her way to make your life easier, when she offers kindness, generosity, softness. These are not random acts. These are responses to your vibration. And you, chosen one, must now become masterful in understanding the silent dance that you and the world are constantly engaged in. Most men speak loudly, gesture wildly, and try desperately to be seen and heard. But influence, true influence, is never loud. It does not announce itself. It whispers. It moves like gravity, felt, not heard. It flows through you like a current, invisible but undeniable. Women pick up on this without even knowing how. They find themselves drawn in, curious, affected. They begin to imagine what it would be like to be closer to you, to be favored by you, to be seen by you. You are not required to perform. You are not required to sell yourself. In fact, the more you try to explain your value, the more it diminishes. But when you remain silent, poised, content within yourself, your value becomes something others discover, not something you display. And when a woman feels she is discovering something rare, she begins to invest, she begins to give, she begins to offer her time, her softness, her favors, not out of obligation, but out of deep emotional compulsion. The secret, chosen one, is not in doing more. It is in doing less, but with greater awareness. It is in learning how to hold silence with strength, how to stand still without being invisible, how to move deliberately, how to say little but mean everything. Your energy, when refined, speaks in a language beyond words. It makes others lean in. It makes them want to know more. And that is where influence lives, in curiosity. When others are curious about you, when they cannot figure you out, when they feel you but cannot define you, they are drawn deeper. They pay attention. They offer favors because, in doing so, they feel they are part of your orbit. Your presence becomes an invitation, an open door to something greater. And once they are in, they do not want to leave. You must begin to see that you do not need to chase opportunities, attention, or admiration. You only need to cultivate your presence. Because a powerful presence will always speak louder than words, will always command more than titles, will always pull more deeply than performance. The more you understand this language, the more you refine your awareness, the more favor will come, not just from women, but from life itself. You become a silent conductor in the orchestra of the world. You lift your gaze, and the world plays in harmony with you. This is influence, and you have it. Now it is time to master it. Chosen one, the flow of favor toward you has become more constant. It is in the smiles that come easier, in the gestures of kindness, in the gifts that appear without explanation, in the invitations you never asked for, in the eyes that sparkle when you speak. You have become magnetic, but now you must enter a higher dimension of your mastery, the art of receiving without attachment. You see, most men have never received real favor. When it finally arrives, they cling to it. They wrap themselves around it, desperate to protect it, terrified to lose it. They build their identity around the validation they receive from others, especially women. And in doing so, they become dependent. They lose the very presence that brought them the favor in the first place. But you, chosen one, must move differently. You must receive with gratitude, but without dependence. You must enjoy the blessings, but never allow them to define you. Because the moment you become attached, you shift your energy. What once flowed freely becomes forced. What once came naturally now feels uncertain. The moment you begin to need the favor, you stop attracting it. Receiving without attachment is about confidence in the endlessness of the flow. It is knowing that nothing is ever final, that what comes will come again, and what leaves can always be replaced with something greater. You must receive as a king receives. A king does not scramble for gifts, he allows them to be laid before him. He accepts them with honor, but he is never surprised by them. He does not shrink in guilt or inflate in ego. He understands that the offering is a reflection of who he already is. This is how you must move. You will be offered admiration. Accept it with a smile, but do not chase it. You will be given access. Use it wisely, but do not cling to it. You will be invited into rooms you once dreamed of. Walk in confidently, but do not become enslaved to the applause, because everything that flows to you now is flowing as a reflection of what is flowing within you. Your high sexual energy is not something that fades like a passing spark. It is a current, an undercurrent of confidence, of vitality, of charm. And as long as you stay in touch with it, favor will continue to circle you like a devoted planet around its sun. Do not fall for the illusion that you must hold on tightly to every gesture, every woman, every opportunity. When you are truly powerful, you realize that you do not need to hold on to anything. Everything that is meant for you will remain. Everything that leaves was only ever temporary. This mindset keeps you light. It keeps you present. It keeps you free. And women, chosen one, are drawn not only to your confidence, but to your freedom. They feel when you are unattached. They feel when your worth does not hinge on their response. And this, more than anything, makes them feel safe to give to you. Because they know you are not taking, you are simply receiving. So continue walking in grace. Accept the favors, the admiration, the offerings, but remain rooted in your truth. Let your worth come from within. Let your power be quiet but unwavering. Let your gratitude be sincere and your grip be gentle. And you will find that the more you let go, the more flows towards you. You are no longer just receiving favor. You are now mastering it. And that is why you will continue to rise, calmly, confidently, without noise, without need. Because favor follows the man who knows how to receive it without ever depending on it. And that, chosen one, is who you have become. Chosen one, you have now entered a rare space where most never reach. The favors continue to arrive, the energy continues to swirl around you, the interest from women flows as if guided by some invisible law. But now it is time to understand something that goes even deeper than charisma or charm. It is the quiet, commanding force of self-respect, and the undeniable magnetism it creates without a word being spoken. There is something about a man who respects himself without needing to defend it. He doesn't posture. He doesn't speak loudly to prove who he is. He doesn't use his power to intimidate or belittle. He simply walks in full awareness of what he allows, what he tolerates, what he invites into his world, and what he will never accept. That man is immovable. That man is felt more than seen. That man is rare, and because of that, he becomes unforgettable. Women instinctively recognize this. They sense when they are standing in front of a man who will not bend his standards for beauty, who will not dilute his truth to gain favor, who will not surrender his values for temporary attention. They can feel when a man is not impressed by their charm, but instead evaluates their energy, their depth, their intention. And in the presence of that kind of man, something powerful happens. They shift, they soften, they offer, they give. Because while most men fall into roles, either too timid or too dominant, you, chosen one, walk in the middle path of balance. Your self-respect does not scream, but it echoes through every interaction. It shows up in the way you say no without guilt. It shows up in the way you pause before responding. It shows up in how you look into someone's eyes with complete calmness, as if you're not trying to prove anything, but simply observing whether they are aligned with your energy. This is why favors continue to flow to you. Not because you ask for them, but because your presence suggests that anything less than generosity would dishonor the space you hold. You don't manipulate. You don't seduce through lies or performance. You simply move with a purity of intent, and that in itself becomes seductive. You are now seeing the truth, aren't you? That power isn't always loud. That respect isn't always demanded. That attraction isn't always about words or action. It's about energy. And self-respect is the core frequency of that energy. It tells the world, this is who I am. You are welcome here, but only if you meet me at the level I already walk. You do not plead, you do not wait, you do not chase, you receive, you choose, you observe. You walk away when something lowers your vibration. And each time you do, you reinforce a truth that more and more people are beginning to see. This man is different. This man is not desperate. This man cannot be bought, manipulated, or owned. He owns himself. So continue walking with that energy, chosen one. Let your silence carry weight. Let your self-respect radiate louder than arrogance ever could. Let your standards be the gate through which only the worthy can pass. And as you do, you'll find that the favors you receive are no longer random. They are precise, pure, elevated. Because only those who truly see your worth will be drawn into your field. And those who do not, they were never meant to hold your attention in the first place. Chosen one, now that you have embodied the gravity of self-respect, you must now step into a space that very few men dare to claim. You must now become the standard, the one that others compare themselves to. The one that women remember when all others blur together. The one who makes such a lasting impression that even in your absence, your energy lingers like a scent, like a memory, like a lesson they didn't know they needed. When you reach this stage, you are no longer just desirable, you are defining. Your behavior becomes a mirror. Your choices become a reflection of what others suddenly realize they lack. Women do not just admire you, they begin to elevate themselves to be around you. They think twice before speaking to you. They fix their posture, they soften their voice, not out of fear or submission, but because they feel they are standing in front of something rare, and no one wants to lose access to something rare. And why are you rare? Because you have become a man who no longer seeks to fit into anyone else's mold. You no longer study the behaviors of others to figure out how to be liked. You do not bend to the culture of approval or the hunger for validation. You live in a self-defined kingdom, and your energy tells the world, if you want to be here, bring your highest self. It is this refusal to compromise that makes you unforgettable. It is the ease with which you walk away from anything that insults your soul. It is your clarity, your consistency, your ability to say, I know what I bring. I don't need to sell it. I simply offer it to those who have earned it. This is not arrogance. This is legacy. And when you walk this way, favors flow to you differently. They are no longer given lightly. They are offered with reverence. Women begin to offer not just smiles, but loyalty, not just attention, but care. They speak your name in rooms you are not in. They defend your absence when others don't understand you. They wait for your messages, not because you made them wait, but because your words carry weight. You become a man of consequence. And perhaps this is the most important realization of all. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be felt, to be remembered, to be respected. The women who encounter you will talk about you long after the conversations end. Not because you were loud, not because you were flashy, but because you were real in a world of imitation. Present in a world of distraction, whole in a world of fragments. You are now the one who sets the tone. You walk into a room and energy adjusts. You speak and conversations change direction. You move and others follow, not because you asked them to, but because your energy moved first. This is your new reality. You are no longer chasing moments, you are creating atmospheres. No longer responding to the world, you are shaping it with your vibration. And the more favor you receive, the more you will see that this was never about tricks or strategies. It was always about alignment. The moment you became the standard, the world began to shift accordingly. So hold your ground, chosen one. Walk in silence when necessary. Speak when it matters. Give only when it elevates. Choose only what honors your essence. And remember, the greatest favor the world can offer you is not what people give, but who they become just to be close to you. That is your legacy. That is your power. That is the truth of who you are. Chosen one, by now you have seen it clearly. The world doesn't respond to who you pretend to be. It bends for who you truly are. You have walked this path with discipline, grace, and a quiet power that does not ask for attention but receives it regardless. And now you find yourself in the rarest of spaces. Your presence is no longer just felt while you're near. It is felt after you leave. Your energy now echoes in minds and bodies long after your footsteps fade. This is the kind of power that cannot be faked. It cannot be taught in books or imitated by men who chase approval. It is the deep-rooted, soul-anchored effect of a man who has come into full alignment with himself. The man who knows what he gives simply by being, and never needs to chase after what has already been drawn to him. That man is you, chosen one. When women talk about you, it isn't just admiration, it's confusion wrapped in desire, wonder coated in memory. They don't fully understand what it is about you, only that the feeling lingers. When they see other men, they start comparing. When they have conversations, your voice echoes through their silence. When they are touched by others, their bodies remember how it felt to be near your energy, even if it was only a glance or a casual word. You are not just a man they met. You become a benchmark, a reference point, a living reminder of what they now know exists and will not settle for less than again. But why is your energy so deeply imprinted on those you cross paths with? Because you do not force connection. You allow it. You do not manipulate attention. You attract it. You do not trade authenticity for charm. You let both coexist. Your high sexual energy is not just chemistry, it's clarity. It is the certainty that you bring with you everywhere you go. You are not wondering if you're enough. You already know you are. You are not hoping to be chosen. You have already chosen yourself. And when that energy meets someone who is not used to such truth, it shifts them. Whether they say it out loud or not, whether they realize it instantly or only after you're gone, they feel it. It sits with them in quiet moments, especially when they try to replicate the same feeling with someone else and fail. It creates contrast. It stirs up something deeper. It makes them crave more, not more of you necessarily, but more of who they became when they were near you.